Good morning. I'm Monica Smith, one of the co-creators of Rebel 11, along with Joni Parsons, who is taking this week off to go play in the snow. And she's actually on the line, but she does not have camera because she has limited connection ability. So we are celebrating our 5-year anniversary this year from when we started Rebel 11. And so I'm just so grateful for you to be part of this community. So thank you for joining us. And I'm thrilled to have Anna Choi joining us this morning to talk about reclaiming energy. Number 3 on my list of New Year's intentions is to find more energy. And it's no coincidence I discovered Anna's expertise. I don't know about you, but especially like after a bad conversation or just like having the sense of being overwhelmed, all I want to do is crawl back in bed and hide under the sheets. So Anna, I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome.
Wonderful. So happy to be here as well. All right, so I will go ahead and share my screen.
And everyone, feel free to put questions throughout Anna's talk in the chat area, and I'll monitor those, and we'll have a little conversation towards the end through chat.
Excellent. All right. So I walk through the center of my financial planning office, and I'm 25 years old, and I collapse in this suede leather chair. And despite business success and being able to grow 6 figures, I am burned out and exhausted. And I wonder, my goodness, I am already burned out in my early 20s. This is not sustainable. And so I keep going down my path and eventually sell my business. I become a stay-at-home mom and I go on sabbatical. And life is good. There I am with my baby. I water birthed my baby. There's my then son, who's now 10, and my husband, and publish a children's book, and we travel the world. We buy our first house. But I'm not working for a while, and we're broke. In fact, we're on food stamps. And I remember being at the store, and a lady, with my EBT card, she's like, Linda, she can't buy these beans on this card. And called attention to me, and I was so embarrassed. And in that moment, I'm like, my goodness, I'm happy, but I am broke, and you need both. And so eventually started my second business. My husband quit his full-time work to become a stay-at-home dad. And as the breadwinner, I now have a house and a spouse and a kid to support, and went to go work at a nonprofit that was a technology industry association, and got to work with Google and all these other startup techs running events for social impact. And I remember, again, one day, just stressed mentally, because on the outside it looked really, really good, but on the inside, I was running the equivalent of 4 weddings at the same time on different timelines. So again, I found myself in this place where I'm getting burned out again now in my early 30s. So then fast forward, and eventually I shift into what I'm doing now, which since 2017 is conscious business coaching. And then in the pandemic, it really shifted into energy coaching and emotional resilience. And this is a picture of my mother. She just retired as a nurse after 42 years, and my 10-year-old son. In the pandemic, we're about to enter into the Van Gogh immersive experience that came through Seattle. And I became a homeschool mom, and I got to become an energy coach and really ground myself inside of Qigong and yoga and martial arts. And so I've been obsessed with energy the last 5-10 years, following my own enlightened masters, energy masters and teachers, and have really now focused on how do we go from scattered energy to being focused and on purpose and feel that aliveness, that you're excited to get out of bed each day. And I share my story with you, obviously to be connected with you, but also to see and evoke your own energy mastery journey. What were milestones in your life that were turning points, that maybe with your mind, body, heart, and spirit at one point, it was misaligned. Maybe you had your past lives, you had really good money, but it was like kind of selling your soul. Maybe you're at home and not happy, taking care of aging parents, and you're not really fulfilling what you're out to do, or you're always giving to your kids or to other people. Maybe during the pandemic, you have not been taking the highest self-care that you possibly could. And so where have you been misaligned? If you just take a quick check at the level of your mind, body, heart, and spirit, and just with your intuition, are you aligned right now or not? And there's my crude drawing of your own energy mastery journey. So I know many of you are listening to this. You don't have your video on. If you can't put your video on, that would be awesome. I draw a lot more energy that way, and we can share that. But even more importantly, I can make this more interactive I do raising hands and chats and things. But if you have a journal, that would be great to get out right now, because I'm going to have you do a little drawing. And so I'll take a moment just for you to grab that, maybe be bold and put yourself on video. Excellent. Thank you. Get to see your faces. All right. So go ahead and rate, just gut check. Are you aligned or not? So in the chat, I just want to hear, go ahead and chat. Yes, I'm aligned. No, I'm not. Or I'm kind of, somewhat. Just those three places. Go ahead and chat that. And Monica, if you can just read out loud, because I can't see it with my PowerPoint up, what people are saying. As that's pulling up, you can also rate on a scale of 1 to 10, how scattered is your energy right now? 1 is I feel drained, I'm overwhelmed, I feel scattered, I'm overcommitted. And 10 being, nope, I am reliably focused and present, and my energy is all aligned. So first, answer the question on a scale of 1 to 10. The first question was just yes or no. Overall, you feel energetically aligned. And then number 2 is rate yourself. How scattered is your energy right now? And put that in the chat so I can see where you're at. And then if you're done with that, go to number 3, which is how was your energy last month? So just taking scope of, we just came into the new year. And from last year, what was your energy like?
So this is Natalia, Anna. So I'll read out some. Farida says no, her energy is 0 to 1. Christine is 5. Pam, 1. Laura, 2. Nancy says no, misaligned, number 5.
Brilliant. Great.
Victoria, 2, definitely scattered. Blanca, 5, and agitated.
Yes.
So we have some 6 to 8s, 5s, 4s. So, yep.
Beautiful. Awesome. And even if you're listening in the car and you don't have a journal, please don't journal while you're driving, but you can just mentally tell yourself or out loud say, this is where I'm at. And it's important to just bring awareness to and acknowledge our current reality right now in this moment and know where we want to go. So next I want to put in the chat, where do you want to be? Some people a 10 feels way too high, right? When you're at a 1, you're just happy if you get to a 3 or 4 today. And that's okay too. Some of you are like, nope, I know I'm at a 10. I know what that feels like. I'm going to get back to that place. So go ahead and put in the chat, where do you want to be? And I'll wait.
We have 8, we have 6, a solid 8, 9, I want to be a 10. And so does Nancy. We have 8, 7, 10.
Beautiful. Okay, good.
Another 10.
Brilliant. All right, good. That was like a test question of where your mindset is, of what you know is possible, no matter where you're at. Because the truth is, nothing's static. As you know, we're always going up and down, but the trick is how can we keep staying as high as possible on the 10 side? Not like it's even better. It's more like when you're at a 1, just being aware of it, noticing it. Okay, great, I want to be at a 10. And in that moment of just saying you want to be at a 10, you start moving up. So all of you just moved up and shifted up. Yay! But I'm going to give you some tools too. All right. So why, I just stepping back from your life in the pandemic and whatever is going on, there's greater global influences happening, as many of you I'm sure are aware. So just wanted to briefly touch on that. We are in the middle of Web 3.0, going into the metaverse. We are at an extraordinary rate of digital. We're actually beyond digital information at this point, but our brains are having to process more in like a day than a whole lifetime of someone in the 15th century. And just gawk that for a moment. Yet we expect ourselves to still operate the way we used to even 2 years, 5 years ago. And yet we have so much more input coming in from our phones, TV, media, family. And then there's decision overwhelm as far as when you just walk into a store, you pick up your phone. How many of you have tried to, you're like, oh, I need to email that person or get back to that person. You go online and suddenly you're down a rabbit hole reading an article or on social media, or you're like, what was I going to do again? And those senior moments happen like all the time to all ages because everything's, it's the economy, attention economy that's grabbed you. So there's that going on. And then the constant adaptation that we have to deal with and the constant unknown certainty. So I gave this talk like way before the pandemic for many years. And this is what I would say, but like the pandemic just exacerbated all of that as far as not having variables, right? I just had a flight canceled that I was supposed to go to next week. And so now you have to, readapt. So that's your brain. It's super tired. And that might be how your body feels energetically. No matter how much you pour in, there's just a bunch of energy leaks and drains and it keeps pouring out. And so how do we plug up those leaks? And a caveat, that's what the 5 steps that I'm going to go over today are, the 5 keys to really reclaim your energies, to plug up those energy holes. This is where I live, out in Indianola. That's my son, kayaking up by Mount Rainier. And this might be what we picture, in the peace in the chaos. And I just want to caution, life's more like this, right? It's a tsunami that's ongoing and crazy. But our question is, maybe we can learn to surf the chaos, that we don't have to rely on the outer circumstances for our inner happiness and our inner peace. Because the truth is, life has always been uncertain. It's just more in our face now. And so inside of that ongoing chaos, which can come in many forms, how can we stay present, grounded, and flow through the tsunamis of life? So right now, take, again, a journal, or if you're listening to this, just mentally say out loud or share with someone, what are your biggest energy drains or leaks? So these are some of the ones I hear a lot, but go ahead and chat for you. What are your biggest energy drains? And again, they can come from the outside or they could be on the inside. Emotions, traumas, past things that we're dealing with as well. And a head that never shuts up right before you go to bed. So go ahead and take a moment to chat and assess what are your biggest energy drains or energy leaks. And if Natalia or Monica can start to read some of this.
Yeah. So we have toxic workplace, relationships, worrying, news, COVID, loneliness.
Great. You guys are doing great. Thank you for sharing yourself.
Relationships and family.
Mm. Yes, that's probably one of the biggest ones that hit us, that I often work with clients on, is they could be so successful or whatever on the outside, or their Facebook feed looks great, but when you look under the cover, they're dealing with some stuff, and usually it's a relationship.
Also the drain of day-to-day life. Like someone put just 3 baskets of unfolded laundry. And it's true, there's so many tasks that build up that we feel like we have to get through all of them.
Yes. Which points to an invisible energy leak, right? Of the voice that says you have to get all this done. And if it's not clean and if it's not done, then what's going to happen, right? Everything's going to fall apart. I'm going to be out of control. So I want to take a moment too to look at what's deeper or underneath that. And typically, in general, human beings deal with 3 desires or needs that drive that. You got to do this. If you don't, you should be here. Why aren't you there? And that is the need for control, recognition, and by recognition I mean feeling loved and liked and acknowledged, not just fame necessarily. So recognition, control, and I am forgetting what the third one is, but it'll come right back, I'm sure. Anyway, these are often, there's drivers underneath the initial energy drain that run it. So keep looking at the source of what the energy drain actually is. Okay, so I'm out to cause a shift in one of those drains today. Obviously, if it's with a person, it's not like you're going to go call them up, but I want you to actually shift the perspective and the insight. So these are the 5 keys to reclaim your energy. And it's allow more yin to your yang. It's an acronym. And then L is for listening within. I is inspiring your soul first. And V is value your fears. And E is energize your daily flow. So I'm going to go through each one in a row. And what you want to do is grab your journal again if you have one. Oops, here, yeah, take a picture of it. This is the interactive part. I can see someone's take a picture so I can pause the slide. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so then grab your journal and draw a circle. It doesn't matter how perfect the circle is. If it's a little wonky or egg-like, just draw the circle. And then make 5 sections, and it's easy to make the lines kind of equidistant. It's like a person, like this. So that's how you can kind of draw the lines from the center out. And then go ahead and put ALIVE around the wheel. Under each spoke. And then you don't have to draw 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can just mentally look. But 0 is the center of the circle. 5 is the outside. And you're going to make a tick mark wherever you are. So I'm going to go over each of these 5 keys. And after each key, you'll have an opportunity to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being like, yeah, I'm totally doing that. 0 like, no, I don't even know what you're talking about. Okay. Claro, any questions? Questions? Nope. All right. Great. Okay, so the first key, ready? All right, is allowing more yin to your yang. We live in a very hustle and grind, keep going, rat race kind of yang energy, tends to be more masculine type of energy that pushes us. And our society is very yang and promotes yang energy. And it's not that yang is bad, it's just super out of balance. So allowing more yin is doing nothing, taking naps, being able to reflect, take vacations. And it's not like if you had only yin, that also would not work, right? They flow into each other, the yang and the yin. But because we often, and I would gather from most of the people that had responded here, being more on the 1 to 5 end of the scale for where's your energy level and how scattered are you, often it's because we have too much going on, whether inside our head or circumstantially. And so we need to make breaks where we have more yin time. So think of this as harmonizing a rhythm and a flow in your life. And in general, from a tactical standpoint, I always have my clients map out on an annual basis timeout, a quarterly, a monthly, weekly, and a daily basis to have you time. And it's not just you time, but just buffer, like no do nothing time. And so I recommend for vacations taking at least a week off per quarter. I don't care how busy you are with work or you don't have work, but what this means is time away from the family, if it so means, because a lot of times a family vacation can be more stressful. But this is time for you. And I know a week sounds like a lot, and we're in an era where travel might be harder or whatnot, but you can always take a silent retreat at home and set that up, or go to an Airbnb or whatever, to even nearby or in your town, to be able to experience this. And if that seems like way too much, you can start smaller with just a couple days, but some rhythm for yourself. So then each quarter, I recommend just a couple days, 1 to 3 days of some sort of retreat. At Rev 11 looks like you have retreats, so that might be a good option for you. And then on a monthly basis, just like 1 day to review and reflect. And then we just got out of, and then on a weekly basis, 1 day. So we take every, Sunday off, like totally offline as a family. And then each day you want some yin time. So I used to not be able to yin 5 minutes. I was like, nope, too busy. I don't got 5 minutes. I got mad when my energy master was like, Anonym, you need to chill out. Take some time out. And now I can't do more. I mean, I crave 2 hours. I'm mad if I can't get 3. So I get up super early at 4 a.m. to be able to get that time to accomplish everything else that there is. But I still have boundless energy. So that's what we want to get to. So story, this is Stephanie, the client I worked with. She had her own insurance agency, about five altogether employees, and through our work found her genius. The first thing we did was schedule her yin time. So we scheduled her vacations out for her annual planning. So a lot of people might have been thinking about annual planning, just mapping out what's my theme for the year. Put your vacations first. And even if the flights get canceled or things happen, it's the intention of being able to get that time out for yourself. And then she did that. Then she figured out she has 2 quarters that are kind of like her tax season that are super, super busy. And normally during those times, she's like, forget it. I'm just going to survive it. And it's like, I wake up, have my coffee, I go to the office, I come home at 7, I have my glass of wine, I watch some Netflix, and then she goes from coffee to wine each day. How many of you can relate? Maybe not. Yes. No. Okay, good. Or we spend a ton of time in Netflix, right? Watching TV, zoning out. I was surprised, like, how many people just have like 2-3 hours at least of TV a day. So right there, if you can cut that out, that could be right there your personal time, where you just sit with yourself. You don't have to meditate, but I recommend that's a very good way. But you can do anything that's just for you. It's like a date with your soul. So yin time. So you want to, we set up her vacations. Then we found out what her genius is. And with her team, figured out where she could learn to trust others to help out, pay the bills. For some of you who may not be working or retired or in the middle of transitioning, this could look like in your household team, trusting, the partner or the spouse or the kid or whoever to do things for you. And then she figured out what really made her heart sing. Like, no matter how busy you are, what is your passion? What lights you up? And for her, it was going thrift shopping and going on a walk and singing. So she was walking one day in the middle of her busy season. She's hanging up a flyer for her choir, And her competitor walks up and is like, "Are you out of business?" And she's like, "No." "And why do you ask?" And she's like, "Well, how can you be doing this fun thing in the middle of the most busiest season? Like, that's impossible." And all she could say at the time was like, "My coach." But I share that because this was unfeasible for her to even think about, and yet it's possible. So I'm going to show you what's possible. This is Pat. She had a high-powered mid-six-figure career at Citigroup, worked a ton of hours, and she has 3 boys. That one still lives with her. They're older, and she just wanted to learn to relax and create more time. So she found her yin times were more on a daily basis. She got a new puppy that allowed her to take these mandatory walks, and so on those walks is when she could really create her yin time. Okay, so rate yourself where you are on scale 1 to 5. So 5 is like, yep, I plan my vacations first before business, or it could be for work, or substitute that word if you aren't working. How many of you, I just want to get a gauge so I'm speaking properly, how many of you are still working? If you can raise your hand or say yes, 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 that would be helpful. I think most of you are. Or not?
Lots
Okay.
of yeses.
Lots of yeses, a couple no's here. Okay, great. Thanks for sharing. So plan vacations first. So before business could also indicate before your personal business, before things that got to be done, right? Taking care of other people. And for those working, before your team, before your manager, all those things. When is you? And then what's your rhythm? So 5 means, yes, I've got a rhythm that I follow, and I take vacations. 0 is like, what are you talking about? I don't even have time to think about that. Where do you rate yourself? Go ahead and chat that. If you are in person and on video, I'd love to see your, I just usually have people show their hands, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, great. 4, Laura's a 4, great. Christine's a 1, got it. Yes, takes courage just to say where you are. Monica's at 8. That's like off the chart. I love it.
And I get mine through time alone. I absolutely need time alone. And it's usually by walking.
Yes, very good.
We have Nellie with a 3.
Okay, great. Excellent. So just make a tick mark. And then
2.
3, 2, got it.
4.
I like to get a sense of where the group is. So normally it's kind of on one end of the spectrum. Sometimes it's all over. But I hear it's kind of in that mid-range, maybe on average 2, 3. Okay. Next is listening within. And Monica, if you can give me kind of like 5 to 10 minutes out when we need to wrap up. That would be great.
You got it.
Okay. So listening within. So your 3 inner advisors. Listening within is all about discerning between the committee that's in your head, like from the movie Inside Out, right? Like who's, you should have done this, or why didn't you do this, or worrying or fretting or anxiety, all those voices, and discerning which one's which. So this is from the book by Brian Whitaker called Yes, Yes, Hell No. And there's 3 inner advisors of your intuition. Sometimes it's called your gut, right? Logic, your analytical side, and fear, like a base primal emotion. And in general, you can just ask yourself when you're making a decision or you're triggered, who's talking right now? You can just ask yourself, who's talking right now? And then is it your gut or intuition? Is it your logical brain, or is your emotion? So we'll practice in a moment here. But first, what I want you to do is think about a decision that's kind of irking you right now. It could be small or large. It could be, should I travel? It could be, should I work with this person? Should I leave this marriage? Should I hang out with my kids? Whatever that decision is, go ahead and chat if you are so brave and vulnerable to say what a decision is that's real for you right now, preferably the one that's juiciest, that's like really bothering you, so we can shift it right now. So take a moment.
Anna, are you asking people to share what the decision is? There's one that is, should I leave my current job?
Perfect. Yes, just like that. It's one that you aren't sure about, a decision you don't know yet what the answer is. So perfect example, should I leave my job? Excuse me. Please add in any others.
I'm guessing fear would be the same as like fear of judgment or feeling like you should do something versus your true desire. Would that fall under fear, Anna?
Yes, it's any emotion of fear, version of fear. So the first thing so does everybody have like some sort of decision? Because this will be a lot more meaningful. If it just, everything I'm sharing with you, there's nothing like super new or amazing. It's you doing the work that's going to shift it. So I highly encourage you to actually think of something, even if it's really minor. Don't worry about it. Just whatever you come up with is perfect, because that's what's going to make the difference. Intellectual knowledge, as we all know, does nothing, and this will be a waste of your time. You should go meditate by yourself and be on this call if you're not actually doing the work right now, because it isn't about ideas and making your brain go, ooh, ah, and then you go back to your life and you're still stressed out.
Anna, we have a couple of more examples. One person is wondering where they should live, buying a condo in Seattle versus Phoenix, or should they rent? We have someone saying that they don't know if they should change profession, and one whether they should get a job.
Perfect. Okay, great.
And relationships.
Good. So if you need to kind of brainstorm a list and then pick one, that's fine, or just pick the top of mind one, but hopefully everybody has a decision right now. And with that decision, we're going to practice this tool. Okay, so the shortcut, I put intuition equals hell yes, because aside from the book and so forth, your intuition or your gut is the fastest way. Like, what does your gut say about it? And you just get an answer. So if you get, there's moments when you have a decision and there's just no question. You don't have to think about it. There's no indecision. You're just like, yes, that is exactly what I've been waiting for. How many of you have you experienced this? Yes. I see an electronic hand. Good. Okay. So that's what I mean by hell yes. There's like no question. It just like flows through with you. And then there's ones that are tepid yeses, or you're not sure, things like that. Okay, so the shortcut to before I do the exercise I'm about to do is you just live a life full of hell yeses. If it's like going to, have you ever bought something, you're like, oh, it kind of fits, but I wish it was a different color, or like this arm length was a little bit, shorter, but you get it, and then you never wear it because it's sitting in your closet and it's just not quite fitting, versus like something that like fits perfect and there's no question, it makes you look like $1,000,000 and you're like, yes, I'm getting this, and you love wearing it. Same kind of thing here. So if you just live your life and you only own or only say yes to things that are a hell yes, your life will be transformed right there. But I'm going to go, a lot of people aren't in that space or able to discern that. So here are 3 inner advisors. Again, intuition, logic, and fear. Okay, so think about that decision. Should I get that job? Should I rent my house? Should I get a house in Phoenix or Seattle? Whatever it was for you. You want to narrow it down to just one question, not like a 2-3 part question, just a one question. Make it simple for yourself. So after you've got that question, I'm just going to use the example of, should I change professions? Okay. So go inside, tune in, feel your feet flat against the floor, your spine straight. Connect in to your heart. Take a deep breath in through your nose, out your mouth. Take your tailbone and imagine an energy line going all the way through the earth down to the core, the center of the earth. While also imagining that energy line going all the way up through the top of your head, to the cosmos, and energetically aligning yourself, ask the question to your intuition. You can say out loud or inside, intuition, should I change jobs? Or transition jobs? Should I leave my job? Whatever your question was. And just whatever you get right away or not. Sometimes you have to wait and listen. I find the intuition is usually a gentle whisper. It's not that automatic firing, but sometimes it can be. So just trust yourself, however your intuition shows up. So keep track of whatever that was. Was it yes or no? Then tune in again and ask logic and say out loud or inside, logic, should I change jobs? Whatever your question was. And once you get that answer, usually it talks a lot, it rambles. It has a lot of answers, that voice. Okay, and then again, tune in into fear. And this is just purely your body sensation and your fears. Ask fear, should I leave this job? And if you get like a non-response, like it's like a no, okay? But there's either gonna be like all of these sensations, and it's like a hell no, like that's what it feels like. So this is how you now analyze your test you just did. If you get a yes on your intuition, in general, that's a heavier weight than the other two advisors. It's like the CEO, and it's a go. Sometimes you'll get a yes, hell no. That's the intuition, logic, and the fear. And that is very confusing, right? Because they're two opposing forces of energies. If you get a yes, hell no, that's actually a disguised yes. That means that's your next biggest transformation. That means you're about to break through a glass ceiling that wasn't there before. And your fear is freaking out because it's going to get destroyed. Your ego is freaking out. So that's actually a yes. So a lot of times with the big decisions, we come up against a yes, hell no. Now for anything else in between, like maybe get a no, yes, no. Sometimes you just have to wait for more information to be clear until you get a hell yes or a yes on the intuition. But generally speaking, I have found in practicing this with myself and with clients is if you go forward with something that sounds good to your logic and not to your intuition, it's not going to work out very well. So I know some people are data driven, numbers driven, so that might be distinct, but everyone's got intuition, and that's like what your soul, your heart wants. So you want to follow that because that's more true, and then logic can always follow. Any questions on that? Put it in the chat. We can answer it later. But in general, don't get too messed up with this. That's why I give you the shortcut called, is it a hell yes? If it's not, don't do it. Okay, and just sometimes you need to wait to gather data until it becomes a hell yes. And sometimes if it's the yes, hell no, keep moving forward anyway. That's a really good sign too. Okay, we're gonna move on here. So rate yourself on the L. Do you trust and follow your inner wisdom? As a 5, you're able to say yes quickly and be decisive and not have to go outside yourself for the answers all the time, asking your friends, asking gurus, asking guides, but you are your own guru. You are trusting yourself. That's a 5. And if you're a 0, that's like, no, I still rely on a lot of outside sources to tell me what I think I want. Take a moment. I'd love to see. Chat. What are your ratings?
Sorry, which end is 0?
0 is like, I don't trust myself and I have to look outside myself for answers. So maybe you get advice, you go online, you don't trust like your inner wisdom. So it feels like indecisiveness, like utter, you're stuck in indecisiveness.
It's spinning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be on the 0-1 side.
Thanks.
Excellent question. What are people putting in the chat?
Nothing yet.
Oh, okay.
4, 3. I think I'm probably a 4. There's another 3. 3, 0. Thank you for being honest. 1.
Excellent. Don't make it mean anything, even if you're 5 or 0. You're just getting an assessment for yourself.
Couple more 4s.
Perfect. Great work. Okay, we're gonna move on. So 3 is inspire your soul first. And this is all around, I'm not gonna talk about her right now. So this is about what is the first thing you do in the morning. So ask yourself, what's the first thing you do right in the morning? Is it check your email? Is it go to the bathroom and eat breakfast? Is it working out? So go ahead and chat if you can, but most people are, I'll go ahead and wait for a moment. What's the first thing you do in the morning?
I have a morning ritual.
Excellent. What are people's morning rituals? If they're willing to share, that would be great.
Feed my animals. I also do that. Listen to Alexa News. Yep.
Got it.
Someone thanks God that they're still alive and insane. Love it.
Excellent. So as you are looking at what is in actuality the thing you do first, the first 30 minutes to 60 minutes of your day is the most critical because your brain waves, you're just getting up. They're not quite activated to the daily activity yet. And so you can really train your brain and your mindset at that moment. And what you feed it, whether it's news or email business or talking to someone in your family or meditating, right? All of that's going to make an impact on how grounded the rest of your day is. So this is Bree, right? She's a business owner, but she was homeschooling. She has 2 kids, and she just was overworked. And so she was able to, in the first thing in the morning is she wanted to do yoga, but there's no room in her room. And then she likes to drink water to help with her thyroid, but her kids would wake up right when she walked over to the water. So by making a few tweaks to what she does in the morning, we had actually put her water bottle at night. It was so funny. All we did was like place her water bottle in a different place. It was already full. That wouldn't wake the kids up. Then she was able to get that quiet space to sit down and do her yoga and meditate. But it's all about tweaking your morning ritual so that it's soul first. And as your life gets more hectic or chaotic, you need to increase that foundation of what you do in the morning. So personally for myself, 30 minutes used to cut it each morning. That's all I could do. And then as things got more complicated, I started homeschooling, all these other things. I have to do 2 hours now to be grounded.
And just 5 more minutes.
Thank you. So go ahead and rate yourself. 5 is where you have a clear grounded morning ritual for the rest of your day. And 0 or 1 is like, I don't have any, it's kind of random. It's like, whatever I feel like it. Sometimes when people work out, they're still in their head, like thinking about what they need to do. So it's not actually grounding them into their soul. So just be honest with yourself and go ahead and chat your ratings now.
We have a 5. We have a 1.
Okay. I'm like, we're losing people.
We have lots more 1s.
Okay, got it. Excellent. So this goes straight into key for valuing your fears. Okay, so this is Nancy, and she was in the middle of transition, empty nester, figuring out what am I going to do next, and was afraid to take the leap to do what her heart called her to do because she was so used to doing what the family needed, the kids needed, etc. She's very driven, highly accomplished. And through this key of valuing your fears. We don't have time to do it, the whole exercise on it, but I have free YouTube videos and so forth, so you can, maybe we can put in the chat what that channel is and they can just look at it if they want. But my TEDx talk actually has it. You can look at it on there on Finding Peace in Times of Chaos. And often we resist or fix or avoid our fears that get in the way of living a life truest to ourselves. If you could instead value the fear, be grateful. Ah, there you are again. Thank you. What would that be like? So for Nancy, when she was able to do that in this particular case, it looked like leaving a marriage that she still actually totally loved the man. They have a very amicable relationship. It just wasn't right anymore. Moving, it was a lot of changes that took a lot of courage. For others, it's giving permission to yourself to start that business that's aligned with your passion or leave that job that really pays well. It's the leap that has your fear like, and go ahead and take it anyway. One person I worked with someone and he just overworked like crazy. And I was like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? We got to the root of the fear, which was, I'm going to die. It's like, I got to respond to the people or I'm going to die. Like, do or die. I was like, whoa, I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to da-da-da. And as soon as he voiced the fear, he was able to then, I got a text from him with a picture of him on his boat, relaxing, right? So the moment you can be with the fear and flow with it, now you have power to feel fear and just keep moving through anyway. Go ahead and rate yourself. 5 is you feel the fears, but you act anyway, and you allow for it. You don't try to fix it or do something with it. You just, like an unwelcome guest in, if your body is like a home and fear comes knocking at your door, you just let it in, actually, instead of trying to keep it out. But you allow it to sit at the guest table. You don't focus on it or coddle it or nurture it or indulge with it. You just let it be. So that's a 5. 1 is like, no, I react a lot still during the day. So go ahead and rate yourself. And in the interest of time, go ahead in a chat.
We have a 3, a 2, a 1, a 3.
Great. And the last one is energizing your daily flow, mastering your mood through moving meditations. So we sit like 8 hours a day, 7, 10, too much at the screen like this. And so how can we actually energize our flow? And I'm going to have you do an exercise. So you can put out with one thumb and one pinky, and then close both thumbs and switch. And most people, when they do this, are like, oh, it gets hard, but it gets faster over time. And that's something that helps your brain hemispheres left and right communicate. You can do intestinals, which is sucking your belly button into your spine. So you can do that right now if you're sitting up straight. Suck your belly button into your spine and pump. It's kind of like a crunch sitting up, and it starts to heat up your core. And mostly we have water up, fire down circulation, where the heat of your head needs to come into your core, and then your core energy cools and calms your mind. So rather than a hot head running around being worried, you can have a calm, cool mind and a hot core for willpower. So there's many physical exercises. Again, we can send a link that has many different free videos that you can look at. Rate yourself here. So 5 is you energize, like you move throughout the day a lot, and you have a cool head and you have a hot body core. And 1 or 0 is, no, I'm very stagnant and I sit a lot. I need to stretch more and exercise more. So go ahead and rate yourself.
Anna, can you just go back to the last slide really briefly? But so far we have a 2 and we have a 0. A 4. Yes, thank you. You
I
can
will
go back
recap
now.
the slides at the end. So now you can connect your dots, and this is just a basic self-assessment. How is your energy now, your energy wheel? Look, what do you want it to be like? How optimized is it? So why does this matter? Because back to the beginning, we want to be able to flow through the tsunami of life, then try to completely change our circumstances and look outside ourselves to be happy. These are the 5 keys that have worked for myself and people I work with that really generate real results to experience inner peace and happiness. And sometimes, though, it can feel like this in the beginning, where you fall off or you need some sort of guide to look ahead of you, and that's where I come in. So for anyone who wants to learn more, I just wanted to offer a complimentary consult. Usually these are $250, but for everyone attending today or listening to the recording, I will offer this complimentary. And just, you can email me at the email anna@annasunchoi.com and indicate event attendee in the subject line or on the booking form. And then if you can put that in the chat as well, that would be great. But you can book a time directly, annasunchoi.youcanbook.me. And on that call, it's typically 45 minutes, an hour. We just look at where are you right now, energetically, but in your life, and where do you want to be? What's the gap? And what are your best next action steps to get there? And make that leap in your life to live a life true to yourself and experience that inner peace and happiness. There's my contact info as well. And
Thank you so much, Anna. And the email that I sent out as a reminder this morning, please feel free to email me with any questions that I'll pass on to Anna, but it also has her contact information there as well. Anna, that was so helpful. I do have a quick question though, since we have a little bit of time. How do you recognize the difference between old patterns of behavior and intuition? Do you know what I mean by that question?
so how do you say it one more time?
So like, as you're thinking about decisions to make in your life, there are all of these old patterns that you've lived with for however many years.
Yes.
How do you recognize the difference between an old pattern and what your intuition is?
Very interesting question. So typically, most people are aware of their old patterns. So you can ask yourself if it's what you've always done, if it's familiar, right? There's characteristics of old patterns that no longer serve you. So you have to discover this for yourself. But if you tune in and ask, you can, first off, as a very easy tip or whatever, you just ask, you ask the voice or whatever is telling you to do something or whatever behavior you're doing, you just ask yourself, who's talking? And you'll get a sense. And the easiest way to discern intuition is it love-based or fear? Is it expansive or contracting in the body? There's really only two places energetically, and it's really obvious which one it is.
Right. Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a great answer. Well, again, this was so helpful. Such a great way to start the new year, truly, especially since this is one of my intentions. So I really appreciate your time.